who has some irrational hatred of me that I've never quite figured out.
Oh, of you? I didn't know that.
It's quite bizarre.
Many such cases.
Many such cases. So he writes, Morning Joe has turned off replies to tweets and hasn't been posting clips of the show. The trip to Mar-a-Lago not going well.
This is peak Rupar. He noticed before anyone that Morning Joe wasn't posting clips. Yeah.
I agree with Rupar here. This is a fair observation.
Yeah.
If you're a show that is afraid to be seen, that doesn't bode well, because your job as a show is to be seen.
Yeah. So let's put the next element up on the screen, just continuing on with this theme. This is also resistance. Ron Filipkowski. If Trump has them that intimidated that they need to retire, an MSNBC host piled on CNN earlier this year, but their code of silence on this is gross. Have some courage and integrity. Is that too much to ask, or are you just too comfortable? He was responding to this George Conway tweet you see on your screen, where Brian Stelter reported that according to two sources with direct knowledge, Joe Scarborough and Mika Brzezinski were credibly concerned that they could face governmental and legal harassment from the incoming Trump administration. George Conway quote tweets that. This Twitter drama is positively middle school-esque, and says, sadly, Brian's reporting is correct. Over the past week, I heard from two entirely separate, very reliable sources with some vivid detail that they are absolutely terrified of Trump. Entirely separate, very reliable sources. I wonder if those sources were Joe and Mika, or if they were people like Joe and Mika who are absolutely terrified of Trump. But George Conway, who goes on MSNBC, would be in a position to know what the mindset is of people in that orbit, saying basically Joe and Mika went down to Mar-a-Lago because they don't want to face backlash, legal backlash, potentially from a Trump administration. Now, Ron Filipkowski and Jen Rubin, another person who goes on MSNBC, have been apoplectic about this, about Joe and Mika going to kiss the ring. And indeed, it appears that the audience, to the point you made, is as well. So let's put C4 up on the screen. This is a report from the Daily Beast. The ratings are falling. So the headline is Morning Joe ratings fall after Trump meeting announcement. Nielsen data showed a drop in viewers after the 6 a.m. hour. So,
and what's fascinating about that is that the show goes from 6 to 10, God bless them. And obviously, because most of the country still sleep at 6 a.m., the audience for the program builds throughout the day.
Yeah.
And then falls kind of toward the, after people have, things to do. But what the Mediaite records that they obtain show is that they go on and they say, hey, everybody, guess what? Cool news. We went down to Mar-a-Lago. Trump's okay. Their audience collapsed. 30% of those in the 25 to 54 demographic had stopped watching by the next hour.
That's significant.
Yeah, because normally you're going up. Now you're losing 38%.
And 38% is a lot.
Yeah, I'm not a math major, but that's a lot. And so clearly what happened was people were like, are you effing kidding me?
Right.
Click.
Right.
Not dealing with this.
Right.
Like if you want your resistance content from the people who've been giving it to you for 8 years, and now all of a sudden they're telling you that actually, which, we're not going to beat up their audience, but throughout the 2016 campaign, it was quite obvious that Mika and Joe were like longtime friends of Donald Trump and loved the fact that he was running, because it was incredible for the ratings. He was constantly calling in and flirting with them.
Literally, yes.
Literally flirting with them. And then he shocked them by winning, and then their relationship soured. And so here we are.
Right. And they say they did all of this because in their sanctimonious way, it was absolutely worth it, quote, absolutely worth it to get Donald Trump to come out and make a statement saying he supports a free and fair press. And that is essential. This is their argument, is that it was worth their time to go kiss the ring because they got him to say nice things about the press, and that's just absolutely essential, the work that they've done to support the media here.
And maybe you agree with everything that they're saying, but what is clear is that they're only saying it out of fear.
Right.
And because things have not gone their way. And to me, they should just then step down. Like if you are acting out of fear rather than out of your true, genuine impulses that you want to share with the audience, let somebody else do the gig.
Well, interestingly, Comcast officially announced that it plans to spin off NBC Universal cable channels into a separate publicly traded company.
That's official now?
Yeah, that broke. Crystal texted it this morning.
Oh boy.
Yeah, so I mean, that's an interesting.
Talk about what that means.
It means an interesting future ahead of MSNBC because the NBC News and MSNBC tension seems to be higher than it ever really has been in their history. By the way, the MS and NBC, do you know what it stands for?
Microsoft.
Microsoft NBC.
Yeah.
Microsoft NBC. It's sad that Microsoft didn't just buy MSNBC back because we would be in for the same Joe and Mika bullshit. Because that's the real problem with MSNBC is that they have spent years, like you said, they wanted it to be known they were very close to Donald Trump. They had access to power. They always thrived on that access to power. They broadcast from the middle of Manhattan in 30 Rock, and they want you to know that. They want it to be clear that they are talking to the movers and the shakers and that they're friends with them. And that's what you see when they're in their quarter zips drinking their Starbucks is this is just friends chatting, and you never really get much like disruptive content, even when they frame sort of things like, oh, maybe this wokeness stuff has gone a little bit too far as disruptive.
Right.
So now it's fascinating to see what will happen with MSNBC. Does it become just the network of people like who tune in for George Conway and Jen Rubin and the niche partisan content, Nicole Wallace, whatever else? Jen Psaki, is it going to become that network, or is it still going to try to be a news network? I mean, I think it's a pretty interesting question if you're the executives looking at the future. Yeah,
and basically you're just going for people over 45 and 50 at this point. Like the idea that you're going to get any new people under that age to start watching cable news, I think at this point most smart people recognize is a fantasy. So then it's like, well, okay, well, how many of those people are Democrats and independent-leaning Democrats or Democratic-leaning independents, and can you convince cable companies to continue carrying you and paying you? Because that's, for people that don't understand, the way that cable companies make money is not mostly through the advertising. It's from your cable bill that you pay to the cable company. A piece of that goes to Fox or MSNBC or CNN, and the way that they maintain that is by maintaining their relevance. That people say, if I'm getting cable, I want these cable news channels. And you'll have fights where people will say, I don't want to have to pay for Fox, make Fox a la carte, or I don't want to have to pay for CNN or whatever.
Right.
But other people are like, I'm paying for basic cable, I want the news.
Right.
Like that, what else am I doing? What else do I want here? I can get the rest of it anywhere else. So as long as there's a minimum threshold number of people who want MSNBC as part of their cable package, and that is understood through surveys of their users and angry phone calls, then the cable companies will keep paying them these very lucrative amounts of money. Because think about how much money you pay every month for cable. If you still get cable, it's a lot.
Yeah.
And a huge chunk of that then goes back to these networks.
Well, and it's why there's this incentive to be nicheified. And so that's what Scarborough and Mika Brzezinski are really trying, they're popping right now in a very uncomfortable way, this audience, this niche audience that they've cultivated in a bubble, which is, listen, I don't think niche audiences are necessarily a bad thing. I think they're really dangerous in politics, but they're cool in like music, and they're cool in all kinds of like different cultural spheres. I think it's great that we have a media environment where, Shane Smith can come back and do his show for Vice, and like there's some type of audience for it. But, this is also really dangerous if it's creating political bubbles that people, for example, Tom Cotton publishes an op-ed in the New York Times, because the New York Times builds this not monoculture audience over the course of the Trump administration, but niche audience of resistance people. Because they publish this Tom Cotton op-ed, people cancel their subscriptions. Or Washington Post, same thing. People are canceling their subscriptions because the Post made a decision to go back to the pre-1976 standard of not endorsing a presidential candidate because they saw their business failing. It's actually a really fascinating and interesting decision that these executives have to make, is whether they want to reach the broadest audience possible or corner a niche. And you can do really well. Like Stephen Colbert, least funny, most partisan guy in late night over the course of the Trump administration. He was the top rated for most of the Trump administration because people tune in over and over again when a lot of people people who don't work in politics, like they just want the comfort food. And if MSNBC was giving people comfort food, it wasn't really doing news, unless, it was maybe some